Website accessibility is all about making your website accessible to people with disabilities. And this is important for, I would say, 3, 4 different reasons. But the first one is the legal implications of this. There are actually laws that protect people with disabilities. And if your website is not accessible to people with disabilities, then you could actually get sued for that and pay a fine. The second reason is related to delivering a good customer experience. So if you want your brand to have a good reputation online, then it's better to, make sure that it's accessible to everyone. And then the third reason is that making it accessible to users actually helps with your SEO. So SEO, a lot of it is based on a lot of it is focused on delivering a good user experience. So if your website is accessible and it's delivering a good user experience, then that helps you rank better in SEO. So let's talk about I'm not a lawyer, so this is no legal advice, but if you want to check out the government website, it's ada.gov, but it's the Americans with Disability Act, and it goes into detail about what you're allowed to do and not do. And on their website, they have a page on how to make websites accessible and the guidelines and things that you should be following. So check that out if you're interested. When it comes to website developers, there's actually two main ways that we ensure that our websites are accessible when we build them. The first way is going through a manual process. So this is just following best practices and testing, making sure that we're going by the checklist of what we got. So for example, one of the ways in here, if you look at their website, one of the first bullet points on here is color contrast in text. So you want there to be enough contrast between the background and the text in front of it. A good example that I always like to reference is if you have a background with a white color on it and you put text in front of it, if you make that text yellow, it's going to make it really difficult to see the contrast between the white and the yellow because there's not enough contrast there. So when we're testing this manually, we can actually test. There's developer tools. So on Chrome, if you right click the screen and then you go down to inspect, it'll let you hover over the elements and inspect them. And if you click on this little arrow which says select an element on the page to inspect, click on it and then you hover over the text that you want and it tells you the accessibility stuff. So here we go. So I'm hovering over this text right here and it tells you accessibility, contrast, and then it says 12.7 and then there's a check mark. So if we make this color yellow, that would turn red, and I'll show you what that looks like. We can edit this one. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Here we go. Yellow. So now let me hover over that same text, and if you see the contrast is 1 and it has a red exclamation mark. So that's a way that you can manually test these things. And you could go down the list of this website. I just refreshed it, but you can go down the list of this website for some best practices in terms of like how to, here we go, examples of website accessibility barriers. So you can go through that and check that out. The second way that we like to do this is actually, I think, a little bit faster, more efficient, and better for our clients. But this is going with a plugin that has an accessibility tool. So if you go to Accessibility, which there's actually several different platforms that build this solution, but Accessibility is one of the platforms that we've partnered with. So with these guys, essentially you put a little widget on your website and then it makes sure that it'll install this little button right here, and you click on it and then it goes through all these things that you can toggle on and off to make it more accessible. So cognitive disability profile, ADH friendly profile, vision impaired profile. So these are all different things that can help somebody with disabilities. So those are the two main ways that we as developers go about checking the website accessibility. If you have questions about your particular website and you think that it may not be accessible, then you can go to oneofview.com and contact us on our website. So that's it. Appreciate you watching. And if this was helpful, give it a thumbs up. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.